Good afternoon from Turkey, and this is Asli speaking. As you said, I'll be talking about promoting a secure global environment and world peace in class. So basically, I'll be talking about promoting global citizenship in classroom. So I tried to include full sentences in the slides just in case there's a problem with the sound system. And the outline of the presentation starts with the terminology, the requirement, the purpose, the core conceptual dimensions of learning, the do's of a teacher, and finally I will end up with giving some tried and tested activities and pedagogies that are used in my class. And for the ones who have recently started watching the videos, the first part of the presentation might take their attention, might be refreshing. I hope so. So to start with, right. And the terminology, what is it? What is global citizenship? So human beings, they all have rights and responsibilities that come with being a citizen of the entire world, as you all know. And so a global citizen is someone who is not only aware of his or her nation, but also the world's. And those people have sense of belonging to the global community. They respect values and diversity, and they try to make the world a sustainable place, which is what we require, right? What does it do? Right. So it creates awareness. That's our hope. That's our first hope. Then it inspires action and partnership, cooperation through formal and non-formal education. So it's not only formal education, it's also informal education. And plus, it means that it's not only in the class, it is outside the class as well. It's in the school, and it's in our families as well, right? And why is it needed? Well, it's needed because local and individual actions, they have broad global consequences. And it's not just about your nation, it's not just about you, yourself, it's about all of us, it's about the world itself. So we need to equip learners to fulfill their potential in a fast-changing and global world. And what's the purpose? So the purpose of teaching global citizenship, giving its education, is to encourage the next generation to form their values of peaceful futures, and so that they can take action about it. And how can the teachers build it in class? So basically by applying a global lens to the instructional practices will lead us to strengthen the students' global competencies. And the core conceptual dimensions of learning are cognitive, social, emotional, and behavioral. So the cognitive ones are about knowledge and understanding. So we require our students to have some knowledge about peace and conflict and sustainable development, social justice, and equality. And what about the skills, the social, emotional ones? We want them to be able to empathize, to think critically and creatively, and we want them to be self-aware and to be able to reflect. And the last one is the behavioral ones, which are about taking actions and which are about attitudes and values. So taking action for the environment and commitment to a sustainable development is what we require from our students. Right, so we need to know that these all are integrated to the syllabus. It's not only a one subject that we need to be covering in one lesson. It covers the whole system. So we need to be incorporating all in all of our classes and all of the areas of the curriculum. And let's have a look at the do's of a teacher. As educators, what could we do about it? So we could ask questions and we could foster critical thinking, right? So instead of being didactic and instead of telling the students what they need to be doing or reading it from a context or whatever, we kind of need to elicit what they think about it. We can explore local global connections and views, values and assumptions. That's another thing that we need to foster in class. So instead of letting them just to know their own nation's problems or whatever is happening in their own nation, they should also be aware of what is happening around the world, and what is the connection of local and global. Exploring the complexity of global issues and engaging with multiple perspectives, right? So this means that there is not only one solution, and that solution is not that easy to solve the problem. So they need to be thinking about various solutions, and they need to be creating their own solutions to the problems. And again, exploring issues of social justice, loyalty, and locally and globally, applying learning to real-world issues and contexts, and creating opportunities for learners to take informed, reflective action and have their voices heard. So this puts the student in a position where they are actively thinking and trying to find the problems and trying to find solutions to those problems and take action against those. So this puts the student in a center. So it is more student-centered instead of a teacher-centered class, right? And plus, it's a process learning. It's not like it doesn't happen all of a sudden. It needs a process, and it's a process learning. And what the teacher does here is to facilitate, to guide the students instead of to lecture the student. Students are more participatory, as I said, and they are responsible from their own learning. This is the most important thing. So I'm going to tell you some of the activities that have been tried by me in my classes. So these, I believe, will foster global citizenship in class. The first one is to give students a global subject matter and asking them to answer endless WHY questions. So this fosters their critical thinking and critical and creative thinking. So to give an example, I've noted some questions that I've asked in my classes. One of is like, are all human beings equal in dignity and rights? And then the students give their answers, and then the teacher keeps on asking why you think so, why you say so. And it goes on like this. So this, as I said, fosters their critical thinking. Another one, which integrates technology in class, is to ask the students to post their answers to a given subject matter to Padlet and have a whole class discussion next. So you might have known about the Padlet, and you might have heard about it before, and it is online. And it also has an application as well. So as most of our students have their mobile phones with them, that would be, I guess, would be easy for those sets of students. And you ask them about what they think about a specific situation, and they write their answers with their mobile phones, and it's projected to the board so that the teacher and the other students see all other students' answers. And there is an option that you can start discussing about their answers. So one other example that I used in my class was, what wish would you like to see fulfilled in the future, for example? And that is the question that is being asked. And then you can say, what do you need for it? And the students write their answers, and then in the whole class discussion, you can talk about the advantages, the handicaps, and the usefulness of them, or whatever. Next one, to role play, to interview. And these are kind of very similar ones, and they are like hands-on experience, and the students really love them. For example, you could ask students to recall a situation that they were once bullied in class or outside class, and what they did in that situation, and share this experience with their friends, with their partners, and then they are asked to role play it. After their role play, and there is a whole class discussion again. So you can see what they think about being bullied, and what are the reactions of the person who is being bullied. And to reflect on, yes, it's inevitable. So whatever they do, we expect them to reflect on, we need to expect them to reflect on their answers, their experiences, or whatsoever. So you might just ask them to fill in the blanks by saying, to support sustainable development, blah, 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 blah. So it goes on like that. And they give their answers. The last two are to watch a video at home and facilitate whole class discussion in class. This is flipped learning, right? And this is another useful one. And to tell a story about the mixed order given pictures, this uses storytelling. So Okay, I have 1 minute left, so I'm finalizing it. And the next slide gives us some pedagogies that could be used while doing these activities. As I said, flipped classroom, and the students are, this reverses the traditional teaching. The students are given topics and tasks to do at home, and then in class they perform it. They talk about it with their friends. Design thinking, storytelling, empathizing, art space, inquiry, experiential learning, and social media are the pedagogies that could be used. So I need to finish, and I would like to show you the final page, which shows you the scan code to fund the event. I would appreciate if you could. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Asli.